Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Rocks. Tracy here, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this really cute little preemie baby granny hat, and it is absolutely adorable. I know a lot of people like to make preemie hats for the hospitals and donate them. So this one, I'm going to get my measure, and it will be around about 3.5 inches long. Exactly, and 10-ish inches unstretched wide. Okay, I'm using a 3.5mm crochet hook, and this yarn that I'm using is a 4-ply weight, a super soft 4-ply. You can use any. I'm just using a ball that I have in my stash. Now, a 4-ply is a sport weight across the pond. And this, I will start with a magic loop. Now, if you don't like the magic loop, you can do 2 chain and work in the first one, as long as you work over the tail. So I'm going to leave a nice long tail because I want to make sure that's really secure once I finish. Now, my magic loop is so easy, you can definitely do it. You just make a loop. That's all you do. Make a loop, insert your hook, pull the yarn through that, and make 1 chain, and you are done. Simple as that. I'll show you one more time. Make a loop, put the hook in, bring the yarn through, and make 1 chain, and you're done. Simple as that. So into this ring, working over the chain, we're going to put 12 UK treble crochets, which is a double crochet in the US. And I'm going to show you the very first stitch is going to be a stacked UK double or a stacked US single. So we insert our hook into the ring, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both of those. Now in this vertical post here, just this one at the side, we're going to insert, I made it a bit tight, insert our hook, pull up a loop, we've got 2 on our hook again, yarn over and pull through both of those. Now that's our first stitch, and this here will be the top of it, just like a normal stitch. It's so much nicer than trying to get into a couple of chain, which sometimes are very tight. Now into this ring I'm going to put 11 UK trebles or US double crochets into there, so that will be a total of 12 with my first stacked stitch. And I'm going to pause the video and do these stitches and catch up with you when I get back to the start, because I lose count when I'm talking, and if I'm counting it will put you off. So make sure that you do 12 including your first stitch, working over this tail, and I'll catch up with you when I get back to the start again. Okay, so I've finished all of my stitches. I'm just going to pull this a little tighter, not all the way at first, but I'm going to slip stitch into this very first stitch, and you can see it has the lovely 2 loops to go into like any other stitch. So I'm going to slip stitch into there, and then I'm going to pull that completely closed. I'm not going to secure it yet, and it will work its way looser, but it will keep doing that until we've secured it at the end. Okay, so my beginning of every single round will be my stack, and in this particular round I'm going to increase into every stitch. So I'm going to reinsert my hook where I've just slip stitched, pull up my loop, yarn over and pull through both of those in this vertical post, make my second UK double or US single. There we go. Now I'm going to do 1 more stitch into that same space, and I'm going to do 2 in every single stitch all the way around. So we started with 12, and at the end of this round we will have 24 stitches. So that's nice and easy, just increasing in every single one. Okay, that's a bit boring to watch, so I'm going to pause the video and I will catch up with you once again when I get back to the start. Okay, so I'm all the way back, And again, there's my first stitch. I'm just going to go into those 2 loops and join it with a slip stitch. And this is how it's looking. So every single round at the moment, we are going to increase by another 12 stitches. So I'm going to do my stack again in the same stitch that I've just slip stitched into. And I'm going to do an increase in this first stitch. And I'm going to do a single stitch in the next, and then an increase. And in the next one, a single. And I'm going to repeat that all the way around. 2 in the next, and 1 in the next. So I'm going to do that all the way around. I'm going to pause the video and I'll catch up with you when I get back to my last stitch. That should be a single one, because we started with an increase. We will finish with a single stitch. Okay, so I'm all the way back again. I'm just going to join it with my slip stitch into my first stitch. Now this is my last increase round, and in this particular round again we're going to increase by 12. In my first stitch I'm going to just put my stack, just the 1 stitch, because I started with an increase in the previous round. I'm going to start with a single, but this time I'm going to put 2 singles, so 2 stitches on their own, and then an increase. Two on their own, and then my increase. I'm going to do that all the way around. 1, 1, then 2. I'm going to go all the way around, catch up with you when I get back here. Now, because I started with a stitch all on its own, the last one will be an increase. And at the end of that, I should have a total of 48 stitches. And that'll be my last increase, as I said. So I'm going to pause it now and I'll catch up with you when I get back to the start again. Okay, so I'm all the way around again. Going to slip stitch into my first one. For some reason having a trouble getting in. It was nice and big as well. Okay, so now I'm going to start my pattern, which is 2 row repeat of a granny stitch. So 2 row repeat because I'm going to make this seam free and we don't want any slip stitching or reversing, like turning our work or anything. So I'm going to do my very first stitch, which will be my stack. Every round will start with that. Well, every treble or US double round. Now I'm going to skip 2 stitches, and in this third one, so that's the one I'm in, I'm skipping that one and that one, I'm going into the third one, and I'm going to put 3 UK treble or US double crochets all in the same space, like a traditional granny stitch. And I'm going to skip 2, 1, 2, and in this one I'm going to put 3. I'm skipping 2, and in the third one another 3. So I'm going to repeat this all the way around until I get back to my beginning. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video, and I just want you to keep going on, skipping 2, and in the third one make your 3, and then stop once you get back to this part here. Okay, so I'm all the way back, and now I'm going to finish off. I've got 2 stitches remaining. I'm going to finish off my 3 stitches in there. So in exactly the same place as this stitch, I'm going to come across and put 2 more. It will look strange at first, but it will soon sort out, don't worry. So there's my second. Now I'm going to find the top of my first stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch into there. So there we are. We have 16, 3, lots of 3, so 16 3 segments. That's my first row. My second row is slightly different, and as I said, it's a 2-row repeat. And to keep it seamless, now we're going to work in this space here. So we're going to do our stack as our first stitch, and as we're in the actual space, we're going to do 3. So 2 more in that same space, and then we're going to go in between our shells of 3 and make our 3s all the way around. Simple as that. So I'm going to pause the video again because it must be boring watching me just carrying on, and I will catch up with you once again when I've gone all the way around and we get back to this part here, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so I'm back where I started. Now I'm going to join this in a different way. Instead of a slip stitch, I'm still going to go in to the 2 loops of that stitch and pull up my loop, but I'm going to yarn over and pull through both of those. So I've got slightly wider than a slip stitch. Okay, and now I'm going to go into this same stitch, pull up my loop and do my stack exactly the same as before. But just like the first round where we just had the 1, I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to do my next stitches in this one. I'm going to put 3. It's easier on these rounds to do that 1 stitch on its own and to catch up with it and put 2 in there than it is the first round. The first round was harder because you're going into just this stitch, but it becomes a lot easier in subsequent rounds. So those are our 2-row repeats, where we start off with our 3 in this one, and then we start off with 1 in this one here. And that is the way that we keep this seam free. Okay, so once again, I'm going to pause the video, carry on putting my my 3s into my spaces, and I'll catch up with you when I get back and we'll finish off this segment. Okay, so I'm back at the start again, and it's easier now. We're working into these spaces to put our 2 stitches at the side of that one. Oh, I've gone very dry, excuse me. I'm going to slip stitch to my first stitch. There we are. So now we have 3 rows, and we want a total of 5 rows of granny. So we'll end on this, we'll do 2 more rows. We'll end on the same row that we've just done. Okay, so I'm going to pause it then, and I shall come back to you once I have another 2 rows of granny stitch completed. Okay, so I am now all the way round, and I've joined with my slip stitch. I'm going to do 1 chain. I'm going to cinch it right down, and that is my way of doing the stack half treble or half double in the US. So I'm going to yarn over, go into that first same stitch and complete my first stitch, and I'm going to do 1 in every single stitch all the way around. Now this will have an effect of pulling that a little tighter, but it will still be stretchy, and that's kind of what you want really. You don't want it to sort of splay outwards. It does have the effect of bringing it back, kind of like a brim. Okay, so I'm going to go in each one all the way around, nice and simple, and I will pause the video then, because that again is boring to watch, and I will catch up with you once I get back to my very first stitch. Okay, I'm all the way around. I'm going to now slip stitch into my very first stitch and going to do the same thing again, 1 chain and cinch it right down, and a half treble, which is a half double in the US, in the same stitch. Now incidentally, all of the materials that I've used in this I'll put a link in the description box. So if you wanted to get this yarn or any of these kind of things I've used, I will show you where you can get hold of those. Okay, so again, I'm going to go all the way around and catch up with you once I get back to the start again. Okay, so I'm all the way around my second row. All I need to do now is I'm going to do the invisible join. So I've cut my yarn. That is my first tail. This is my only other tail. So how I do that is now I'm going to pull this loop completely out. I'm going to take my darning needle, can you choose one, and struggle on camera to threadle it, because I always do. And yeah, today is no exception. Yes, today is no exception. I could pause it, but I just somehow feel that you might enjoy watching me fiddle around and show that you're not the only one. Okay, so how do we do, excuse me, the invisible join? So this is my very first stitch, and those are the 2 loops there. So I'm going to go front to back through those 2 loops and take my yarn with it. There we go. Now we want this stitch to look the same size as all the others. So with the yarn in the front, I'm going to go, it gets in the way, it does like to, I'll hold on to it. I'm going to go into my last stitch, but the back loop only, front to back. And then just give it a tug to make it the same size as the others. Now you need to hold on to that somehow, maybe the other way, like this. And while I'm holding it, I'm going to secure it by making a stitch there. I'm going to do one before I do anything else, and then I'm going to go make another loop. And when it's small, if you do it when it's too big, sometimes it goes a little wrong. I'm going to go back through that and then pull it tight. So now that is secured, and it's a similar size to all the others. You don't really want it too loose, because you do get a gap here if you do. Now all you have to do is just making sure it's the same tension as all the rest, not too tight. And now we need to bury our tail in the line of stitches, which is so much easier when you're not doing it on camera, I can assure you. Okay, here we are. Go through a couple more. And then I will just come back on myself the other way, but I always make sure I try to catch a little bit of that first stitch, sort of break the stitch a little bit so that it doesn't just come all the way back through again. And then I just give that a little tug. It's now buried. I get my scissors and give that a snip. Get rid of that end. Now there's another one. Of course, there's that one that started it all. Nice big tail, and of course we want to pull it tight. And again, we want to struggle and threadle this needle. I see people, they do something like this. They go like that, and then they just come away and it goes straight. But look what happens when I do that. It just doesn't work for me. So yeah, I just twist it, make it skinny, and try my best to poke it through. I do have a needle that has a larger eye, but this is very thin yarn. It's nice and delicate. I used to always make things with 3-ply and 4-ply for babies, and it is so much nicer. So my first stitch I'm going to just cinch, just pull it tight, And then I'm going to go back through, and this time when it's a nice small loop, I'm going to go through, I'll pull it tight. And now all I need to do is to feed this back through all of this first round of stitches. Just bury it, and you can go back and forth if you want, or just go round. It won't come out again. It's once it's in there, it's very well and truly buried. Now that should be done. Move this over here, turn our beanie in the right way, and there it is. Cute. I've got a pair now. So yeah, same size. I've measured them. It's all the same. So hope you enjoyed that. And if you have different yarn, just a little word on sizing. If your yarn is different, you could always do another round. If it wasn't long enough this way, you could always do another round of half trebles in the UK, half doubles in the US, or you know, just maybe use a DK weight yarn. But I like to keep it nice and soft. These are very, very lovely soft yarns, these Peter Pans. I will, as I say, in the description box, link all the products I've used. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye bye for now.